Hello, I am your host Angelina and you are listening to V.I.P podcast, where we talk about very important people, ponies and pooches. In today's episode, I am bringing to you a discussion on puppies during lockdown and another exclusive interview with Rachael Grylls, but this time she'll be talking about her talented dogs. Also in this episode, I will be bringing to you some ideas of what you can do to keep busy during lockdown. As you may know, that during lockdown in the UK, many people have gone out and gotten a dog from a rescue centre or have bought a puppy. There are positives about this topic, but unfortunately there are negatives too. The fact that many dogs in rescue centres have been given new homes is absolutely fabulous, or even the fact that a lot of people have decided that they are ready for a puppy to be introduced to their family is great. However, will there be problems for those doggies in the future? I am by no means saying that people who have gone out and got a new dog are wrong for doing so. In my opinion, a dog makes a home complete. However, I have realised that people don't always realise just what they've signed themselves up for. You have probably heard the saying, a dog is for life, not just for Christmas. Well, recently I've been seeing posts on social media saying a dog is for life, not just for lockdown. Seeing this being posted actually makes me quite sad and a little annoyed that this statement even needed to be said. Dogs are animals, yes, but they understand and have emotions themselves too. If you want a dog, it is important to ensure that you do a lot of research about what it is involved with owning and caring for a dog. Also, be sure to find out that the breed is suitable for you, the kind of environment you live in, and the people and other animals you live with. You need to ask yourself questions like, can you afford to buy and take care of the dog? Taking into consideration things like vet bills, food, enrichment products, training sessions, equipment, and grooming, etc. Do I live in a home environment suitable for a dog? Does where you live allow dogs? Is there enough space for a dog? Are there other pets? Some dog breeds have higher prey drive than others, which could lead to the dog stalking the other pets. Any children? Dogs and children shouldn't be left alone together, as children aren't always able to read the dog's signs when they are trying to express that the child is invading their personal space, or if they are being too rough, loud or silly. Do I have enough time to put towards bonding, training, exercise and caring for the dog? Training doesn't necessarily need to be anything fancy like agility, hoopers, flyball, trick training, etc. It can be your basics that teach the dog to be well mannered, although the dog sports I previously listed and more will create a fun and interactive bond between the two of you, and it gives a dog a more cognitive mindset and plenty more mental stimulation, as well as helping keep their fitness and health up. How much exercise will I be able to provide the dog is another good question. It will depend on the breed of dog you choose as to how much exercise the dog will require. But all dogs need regular exercise to stay fit and healthy, well socialised, and even for mental stimulation. One less thought of question is, does your future allow for and include a dog? If it doesn't, then I don't think you should even think about getting one, because as the saying goes, a dog is for life. And most importantly, am I prepared to love him or her unconditionally? I have been very concerned with the amount of breeders or general dog owners that have been having litters from their dogs over lockdown periods. Prices of puppies have shot up, and it kind of feels like some, not all, but some, have been just breeding to profit from the raise in the prices. I am worried that many rescue centres will end up filled once again with now unwanted puppies from previous owners that never did their research on the breed of dog and how much attention a puppy really needs. With the quote, a dog is for life, not just for lockdown, I have a love-hate relationship. As I said earlier, I wish it was something that didn't need to be said. However, I believe with what I have noticed going on around me, in my opinion, it is one of the most important quotes that needs to be told and heard by everyone. I am by no means accusing anyone of anything. I am just stating the facts of what is going on within the doggy world during these hard times. I don't disagree with breeding. I myself have 2 beautiful, well-bred border collies, which I have owned since pups. I also love the idea of rescuing, and so me and my boyfriend have recently been looking to rescue. a dog, and we in fact took on a 5-month-old pup who stayed with us for a week to see if he fits in with our lifestyle. I think the agreement of taking a rescue dog on for a certain amount of time to see if they fit into your home environment and family is a perfect plan of action, which allows you to make a decision based on what's best for you and the dog. Anyways, that pup is now a part of our family and has a loving forever home. I think it is also important to also research who it is that you're purchasing a puppy from, if that's the route you're taking. You wouldn't want to support puppy farming after all. I advise that if you were looking to buy a puppy, that you would buy one from a licensed breeder. As stated on the UK government website, under Lucy's law, licensed dog breeders are required to show puppies interacting with their mothers in their place of birth. When looking on the government website, I found a section on warning signs of what to look out for when thinking of buying a puppy or kitten. Here is what it states. Before visiting, you should research. Have a look at what the seller's profile and search their name online. If they are advertising many litters from different breeds, well, then this is a red flag. Check contact details. Copy and paste the phone number into a search engine. If the number is being used on lots of different adverts, sites and dates, then this is likely a deceitful seller. Check the animal's age. Puppies and kittens should never be sold under 8 weeks old. Do not buy from anyone advertising a puppy or kitten younger than 8 weeks. Check the animal's health records. Make sure the seller shares all records of vaccinations, flea and worm treatment and microchipping with you before sale. When visiting, make sure the mum is present. If mum is not available to meet, it's unlikely the puppy or kitten was bred there. Beware of the seller making excuses as to why mum is not there, e.g. she's at the vet's, asleep or out for a walk. Check there isn't a fake mum. Most fake mums don't interact with the puppies, as they fear the real mum returning. Watch out for puppies or kittens labelled as rescue, but with a much higher than expected price tag. If you feel rushed or pressured into parting with cash, this is also a red flag. Health problems observed at purchase are not normal, and don't be convinced otherwise. Beware of offers to meet somewhere convenient, e.g. car park or motorway services, or shopfront premises, common with rented properties just to make sales, and sales rooms kept separate from nearby or on-site puppy farms. A sign I always look out for a good breeder is if the breeder cares who the dog is brought by. My 2 border collies came from a breeder that I know cares about where her pups end up. If a breeder is willing to turn down a home that he or she doesn't feel is appropriate for the pup he or she is selling, then this is a great sign that the breeder does care and wishes for the dog to end up in a happy, healthy, forever home. I think it's great that breeders that give you little puppy packs with all the dog's information is brilliant. I think that it's important that they perhaps give you a small portion of food that the pup has been being fed on, so you can gradually change the pup over to your more preferred food. I think they're thinking more of the puppy than the money. If you see the breeder post pup dates regularly on their social medias, you can see the puppies playing and perhaps even exploring some enrichment products. It also shows that the breeder is starting to introduce new things early, which is important, as within the first few months of the pup's life it is important to desensitize them to most things. The reason puppy farms are so bad is, well, there's many, but dogs that are used in puppy farms suffer horrific conditions behind the scenes. Buying a puppy from one only gives them more reason to continue using dogs as breeding and money-making machines. Anyways, to round all of this up, please make sure you are 100% ready to take on a dog and have done all the necessary research. Dogs and puppies deserve amazing and all-round happy forever homes. So if you have a special place for a dog in your family, home and heart, then please do go out and get one from either a rescue centre or from a licensed breeder, whichever you think is better for your family and home environment. As dogs really do bring joy to your life, and it's our job to bring joy to theirs too, while loving them unconditionally. Okay, so moving on, we are going to have Rachael Grylls, 8 times Guinness World Record holder, join us to talk about her talented dogs. She is a woman of many talents when it comes to training animals. She began her career training horses, as we talked about in her previous episode with V.I.P podcast, and will today tell us what made her decide to start training dogs too. Rachael also goes around the country performing with her Pooches at events and also competing in dog agility and hoopers. This interview will be one that is quite special to me as she is my mum, so let's welcome her.
Hiya, glad to be back.
So, hello Rachael, welcome to VIP Podcast for a second time. So let's start at the beginning. How did your career in training dogs start?
Well, as you know from the previous podcast, I started training horses. I had dogs as pets as always. And a funny thing happened one day. I was getting the horse ready to train and I bent down to pick his feet out. My little Jack Russell Jessica was with me at the time in the stable. She follows me everywhere. And as I bent down to pick the horse's foot up, the dog jumped on my back and then jumped onto the horse's back. I stood up quick in shock thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? And Black Lad, bless him, just stood there. He turned his head and he looked a bit puzzled. But then Jessica stood up there really happy, wagging her bum. And as she was moving around, her claws were like massaging his back. And then Black Lad started to then lift his head up and start to wiggle his top lip like he was really, really enjoying it. So that kind of gave me the idea. I've never trained dogs before. Gave me the idea that because I was trick training the horses, to put the two together. So then I started to work out how to train the dogs.
Well, that's actually a really interesting way to have actually started that career. Now, for those of you that weren't ever lucky enough to have ever met Jessica, she was an absolute star. In fact, her kennel club name was actually Twinkle Star. Jessica was practically famous. She went on to Who Let the Dogs Out. She went on and performed on stage to celebrities. Ashley Butler is one of them, from the duo act Ashley and Pudsey. Bill Bailey was there, and Sharon Osbourne on the show Take the Lead. She has achieved a super cool Guinness World Record for skipping with Rachael over a jump rope, and so much more. But unfortunately, Jessica is no longer with us, but is forever in our hearts. Rachael, can you tell us just how special Jessica is to you and the family?
Jessica, bless her, she's 1 in a million. I don't think we'd ever find another one to replace her. She was quite a... how can you explain her, Jessica? She was never the most liveliest of dogs. She was very happy to just sit down on the sofa and chill all day long. She would come out and about and follow you around the farm a little bit, but after about 10 minutes or so, she was back indoors, snuggled up, nice and cosy. But talented wise, I mean, she was the one that took me all these places. We've done, like you said, numerous TV programmes. She's met many different celebrities. Every time they phone up, it's always for Jessica. So absolutely gutted that she's not with us anymore, bless her. But yeah, no, I have 5 Jack Russells, and I have to say, every single one of them are completely different to each other.
And are you working on bringing another world record for skipping, maybe to even progress from Jessica?
Jessica had a unique talent for skipping. I've not seen many dogs skip. I have tried it with my other Jack Russells, which are quite different style to Jessica. They will skip, but nowhere near like Jessica does. But my younger one, Joey, he's 2, 3, lose track of all their ages. He seems to be the best one now at skipping. He's more Jessica build. So he's finding it nice and easy to jump up quite high. At the minute we're doing about 10 to 12 skips. He's just getting the rhythm nice, so bless him, hopefully he'll be able to, I don't think he'll ever be as good as her, but you know, at least he'll be able to demonstrate the trick and keep Jessica's record going for her so we can display it at the shows.
Jessica had little springs in her feet, didn't she?
She did. She was a tiny little dog, very, very small dog, but the height she could jump, wow, it was so impressive.
Okay. Now, although you are most well known for your skipping world record with Jessica, you don't only have one record, you have something crazy like 8, right? Could you tell us what your other records are?
Oh gosh. So we've got the skipping. Jacob, bless him, did most paws in 1 minute, and then Guinness actually opened it up for the public at one of the Dogfest shows that we go to, for the public to have a go to try and compete with Jacob for 30 seconds. So ideally they wanted them to get roughly what Jacob got, but half of, obviously, for 30 seconds. And no one could get nowhere near it. So then Jacob had a go at the end of the day just to see if we could achieve it still. And he got more than he got when he did a full minute, bless him. So he then holds the title for the most paws in 1 minute and also most paws in 30 seconds. That's those three. Jacob also has a world record for leg weaves. Now we had to do 30 metres of leg weaves and it was the quickest time. So he has that one. Jack, he has the most cross paws when the dog alternates the paws left to right. He has that. Again, I think that was for a minute, so most paws in 1 minute. And Joey has most volts, the quickest time for volts. He had to do 10 volts on the quickest time.
Body volts.
Yeah. And also twists when the dog spins completely round.
Yeah.
That was for 30 seconds, I believe, because we didn't want to do that too long because obviously they get dizzy. So that he holds the record for that. And I think Jacob also holds another world record for sit down, roll, stand. Sit down, roll, stand. So most rollovers, basically. When we took the challenges, Dennis said to me that, people usually beat them by 1 or 2. And they're absolutely amazed on how many Jacob beat them by, because I think it was something like 11. And Jacob did something stupid like 43 or something. I can't remember now off the top of my head. But we'll have to look it up and let you know.
How long does it take to train each of your dogs to beat these records?
Again, it depends on the trick. Like the skipping took quite a while to actually teach it from start to finish because there's several different stages you do before putting it all together. Things like give a paw is obviously a lot easier to teach. So it all depends. I mean, on average, other than the skipping, the other tricks take about 20 minutes, half hour for the dog to understand what you're asking, and then obviously you perfect it and make it better.
So how often do you actually train your dogs?
I'd like to say I train them all every day for about 10 minutes, but no, it's impossible. That's what I would like to do. But roughly about twice a week they'll each get done. And I'd like to do a good session for 10 minutes. I won't make my sessions go on too long because some of the tricks that we're asking the dogs to do are quite hard.
And you always want to finish on a good note as well.
Yeah, and I always want the dog to be wanting to do more.
So were there any changes you had to make to your dog's routines leading up to completing a record attempt?
Well, again, I'm going back to the skipping one because that's the one that's really hard on the dog's body. I did lots and lots of fitness things with Jessica. We had lots of vet checks building up to it to make sure that she was fit enough to be able to take the challenge because it's a lot on her body jumping up and down. I had to make sure that she was fit enough to be able to do about 50 to 60 skips in 1 minute. It was tiring enough for me, let alone the dog, bless her. So I think most of the time it was me catching the rope around my leg, I have to say.
But then Jessica is, no offence, but quite lazy. And whereas you actually do agility and things, and she'd rather just sit at home on the sofa.
I tend to go for what the dog likes to do. So Jessica obviously likes to jump anyway. So teaching Jessica to skip was absolutely fantastic because she enjoyed to jump. And I don't mean like agility jumping, I mean just pinging up and down. Yeah. She enjoyed to ping. That she thought that trick was great. So as much as she was quite a lazy dog, she looked forward to doing her trick training, if you like. She looks forward to interacting with you for a little bit.
If I remember correctly, she had her favourite tricks, and then the others she'd be like, not really.
Yeah, she'd be like, I'll do them if you want me to. But yeah, no, she liked to pose, so you could give her anything to pose on or sit pretty. She'd sit pretty for ages. But yeah, no, she was cool, and the good thing about Jessica is she would love to perform with Jack or Jacob as well, which is really nice.
So how much work goes into preparing for an attempt at Guinness World Record? Like, do you have to apply for one? How do you prepare your dogs and yourself?
Well, first off, again, it depends on if you're doing the challenge at home or if you're doing it in front of the Guinness World Record people. It's a bit different. So first off, you go online, you go onto the Guinness website, you look at your trick, say it's most paws. They'll give you the information on the dog that already holds the record and the amount of paws that you need to beat. You then can apply for it, and then they'll send you all the information on all the rules and regulations. So I did the poor one at home. So we had to have witnesses. So I had to have somebody video cameraing, somebody taking pictures, somebody counting, somebody making sure the person counting was counting correctly. So those were my 4 witnesses.
And then you also had to send in those videos to Guinness, didn't you?
You had to then send in the videos. They wanted it in slow-mo.
And normal, wasn't it?
Yes. So obviously it's easy for them to see in slow-mo, but it does take a long time for somebody to have to sit there and watch, because a minute in slow-mo takes a long time. But yeah, so that was at home, so that was nice. The dog's more relaxed then as well, so I feel you get more out of the dog. With Jack, I did him with the Guinness people, and also with Joey. So of course the Guinness officials are there, so there's no, I don't need any witnesses, that's just down to them. There's 2 people there watching, one's there with a little clicker, clicking every time you do something.
If I remember, for your leg weave record, you actually had to have a surveyor?
That's right, yeah. I had to have a surveyor come that had a certificate, so I had to have proofage of the certificate. And he had to measure 30 metres. So we measured it out, and then he came to check that we'd measured it correctly.
So, as you mentioned earlier, you completed some of your Guinness World Records at some events we have performed at. Would you like to tell our listeners what they are?
So we go and perform and do demonstrations at something called Dogfest, which is owned and run by Noel Fitzpatrick, the super vet on Channel 4. So we have a contract with him, and we go around to his 4 events a year he holds, and they're usually every 2 days. So we go to all different places, depending on where they hold them. Obviously we go to the NEC in November, which is indoors.
The National Pet Show.
That's the National Pet Show, yeah. And then we go to different places like Cheshire and wherever they take us, really. We did do Bristol for the first time. Year before last.
Yeah.
So they vary. Most of the events are outdoors,
the
which is
National
really
Pet Show
nice.
that's indoors.
Yeah, that's the NEC in Birmingham. But the others are outdoors, which is really nice, especially if it's summertime and the weather's nice. There's a lovely bit of camping, nice socialising. But I have to say they keep us very busy.
Yeah.
So it's good the fact that I have a van full of dogs, so I don't just use one dog all day and tire him out, bless him, because they have us doing demonstrations on trick training, demonstrations on agility, doggy dancing. There was going to be hoopers this year, but obviously with COVID it was all put to a stop. So we're literally, and the rings are so far apart, so you're running from one ring to another, your costume changing in between. You barely get time to eat for the day, and if you do get a spare 10 minutes, they usually chuck you in the judge's ring to judge something.
But that's always fun, seeing all those lovely doggies.
It is lovely.
Well, unfortunately, as Rachel said, we couldn't go this year because everything was cancelled, but we're hoping to be able to go this year.
Hopefully, yes. I think they're looking to, obviously in May we have a couple of dog fests, if all being well, but they may postpone it, make it a bit later, June, July, I don't know, but it's all a waiting game at the minute. But they are great fun. Loads of doggy shopping there, which I really love.
Yeah.
I have to
great discounts.
I have to go doggy shopping really early in the morning before the show opens, because there's no time during the day. But it's really nice doing the demonstrations with the dogs, people coming to you afterwards and saying, wow, your dogs are amazing. People also ask questions on how you teach it or what the next stage is, which is really nice. And it's lovely seeing people there with their pets.
So we both perform with our dogs at Dogfest events and National Pet Show. But can you name a few other places you have performed at with your dogs?
Okay, so most of the times I go all the way to London, central London, to the ITV studios there. So I've been on Good Morning with Holly and Philip Schofield several times. We've also been to the same studio, but obviously in different departments of it, with Alan Tishmarsh. So he does a gardening programme, but this was not a gardening programme, this is more like a chat show. So we've been on there 2 or 3 times now with Alan. And just before his show was finishing, coming to an end, he did like the special moments. And we were one of these special moments, so that was really nice. Going back there, and we did Jacob and I danced the Bolero when it was Torval and Dean's anniversary, and we went and danced that on the stage. That was really nice.
You have met many celebrities along the way. I actually remember being quite jealous once because you met Jamie Hensley from, like, one of the singers from one of the boy bands I like, Uni and Jay. Could you tell our listeners what it's like to meet some of those celebrities?
To be fair, they're pretty normal, genuine people, but because we know they're celebrities, we tend to be all shy and clam up and go, oh no, that's so-and-so, they're so-and-so. But actually, you can just walk past them in the corridor and they just smile. I remember seeing Jack Black at the ITV studios, thinking, oh my god, there's Jack Black. I love Jack Black. And he just walked around and he smiled and said hello as he walks past you. I'm quite shy. I think I'd like to be more braver and ask people for their signatures and a few more selfies. I've been brave and got a couple, but I would have liked to have
Jamie's.
got more.
You did get
Jamie's,
and a photo with Jessica.
Yeah. He actually loved Jack Russells, and another person I met who really, really loved Jack Russells is Christine Blakely. She had Jack Russells and she really, really loved them. And of course, when it's what I like is before the show actually starts is all the preparation to the show, and you're sat there and you can go into your dressing room or you can go and watch, and it's really nice watching like Christine Blakely go over her lines like 2 or 3 times. The spotlights are moving, the cameras are changing, and in between all that happening, she'd just come and sat next to me and we just had a general chat, which was really nice.
So one of the celebrities, Ashley Butler, actually comes to train at Devon Animal Training Academy every now and then, doesn't she? Which is where we are based.
Yeah, Ashley and Pudsey, bless them. Dear old Pudsey, they've done so much. Obviously they did Britain's Got Talent, and from then on he went and made a movie and all sorts of things. Ashley's very well known in the doggy world, and she's a lovely girl, bless her. She does agility, so I see her more so on the agility side now than the doggy dancing side. I think that's her great passion. Obviously she's got other dogs now after poor Pudsey passed away, but Ashley herself is, again, a genuine down-to-earth person. Really nice.
Your dogs are trained in breaking world records, but they are also trained to compete in other dog sports, correct?
Yes, do agility and hoopers with them.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say I do love my agility. That's my biggest passion. Absolutely love it. And again, going away, camping, the dogs, and the social sides with people, I really, really enjoy. As we've got so many dogs, we don't get to go on like holidays, we don't get to go abroad or anything, so going away camping in the caravan with all the doggies on agility weekend, or sometimes we'll go and do a week's camp. That's kind of our holidays, but we just love being with them. Wouldn't have it any other way.
There are some people that say that their dog does one, not the other so much when it comes to hoopers and agility. If a dog is able to do both, is it beneficial?
I would like to say so, yes. I kind of think, again, I love my agility, but hoopers, I believe, has helped my dogs get the distance, because especially over lockdown I've put on a few pounds, as many people might have. So yeah, no, it's great to be able to send your dog on, and it's just if you can't make it there, or if it jumps in your way or whatever in agility, at least you've got the reassurance that you can send the dog on. So hoopers is actually great for distance training, but agility, whilst I can run, I will try and get to the fences. I won't race my dog because I can never beat them. Well, the collies, the Jack Russells tend to like to chase me around the agility course, whereas the collies, at least I can send on a bit.
Okay, so let's move on to why do you choose Jack Russell Terriers and Border Collies to have as pets and train up?
Well, I believe they're both very different, but also both very, very clever, intelligent dogs. As I said, I've got had 5 terriers, and they were all completely different. Not all. Jessica, bless her, she didn't like agility, and Jacob, he's not built for agility. So it's good that I do have the trick training and the doggy dancing, because at least they can do other things. Jessica, again, she wasn't interested in hoopers. Jacob probably could do hoopers because, again, you don't have to jump. And the Border Collies, well, I just love their enthusiasm. There's just so much energy there. They just want to run, they want to learn, they're just keen to please. They're proper working dogs, and they have so much fun doing it. And even if you, we turn them out into the fields just to have a run around or whatever, you can see them taking the jumps. They're loving it, even without even asking them to do it, So, I mean, as a grown-up, as a child, we've had Old English sheepdogs, we've had Yorkshire Terriers, but since being on the farm, a collie is the farm dog, so that's where that started off from, I think, and I was amazed at how clever they are.
So, a lot of people say that actually Jack Russell Terriers are hard to train, but what's your opinion on that?
And they can lose their concentration very, very quickly, that they can do. They can get distracted very easy, especially Joey's entire, so he he tends to pick up the smells very quickly and will go off. So that was quite hard in the beginning to train him to not bugger off. But we got there. I think I'm there with him now. He's listening, and again, because he's enjoying his training, he doesn't want to leave me. He doesn't want to go off for smells. I dare say if a bitch came across in season, that might be a bit too much to ask. But, you know, in the agility, he's focused on that. He never leaves me. In the doggy dancing, that's probably where I'd have the trouble if there was a girlie there.
Well, saying that though, my border collie Ice, he actually used to run along the ring sides, didn't he? And when I had the dog in the next ring, so we had to overcome that. So it's not just Jack Russell.
But then that's a herdy thing, a border collie.
So it's not just one breed specifically, is it?
No.
So what would you like to achieve next with your dogs?
Well, my biggest achievement, I've always wanted to go to Crufts. So just before all this with COVID came in, I was able to get to Crufts, which was the highlight of my year, and that's all I've ever wanted from Jack, bless him. I wanted a grade 7 agility dog, which Jack is, and I always wanted to compete at Crufts, which Jack also enabled me to do. So, you know, I've reached my dream really that way. With River, I would love to go and compete at Olympia in the Novice Agility Cups, or I don't know what they're doing these days now, but I would like to compete with River at Olympia. I think
Olympia is amazing.
That would be my next goal.
Well, thank you very much for joining us once again on V.I.P Podcast, Rachel. Hope you have enjoyed it.
Pleasure having me. Thank you.
Well, if you wish to watch what Rachel and her crew of dogs get up to, then head over to their socials, which I will put in the description. Okay, so let's move on to talking about things us dog owners can get up to during this lockdown period. Here are a few ideas I have come up with. Train your dog. Set out goals to train your dog something new every few days or every week or something. It will give you both bonding time and give the dog some mental stimulation. Sign yourself up to courses. There are many online courses in relation to dogs. You can get onto an online college course, perhaps one about canine behaviour. I am currently completing an online canine first aid course, which isn't just for people who want to be able to hold events, etc. It's actually one that also accommodates for people who just want to know how to help their dog if they were ever to be in an accident or in pain, etc. There are even courses online that include your dog, such as online training from top trainers of their sport. How about listening to some informative podcasts or videos? I feel like they're a great way to learn and to keep updated with what's going on in the world at the minute, and especially the doggy world and how to cope with what's going on with coronavirus restrictions, etc. Take some lovely photos of your dogs and share them with us here at VIP Podcast. We'd love to see those adorable doggies. If you can think of any more to help people out during this tough time, then please do comment them below. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon.